Conceive, believe, achieve.
This is former UFC middleweight champion of the world, Michael Bisping.
Paddy the Baddy here. You're listening to Combat Sports UK.
And you're watching Combat Sports UK.
Hi everybody, welcome back to Combat Sports UK, and it is my absolute pleasure that I'm joined again by the now number 3 ranked Octagon featherweight Niko. One love, Samsonidse. Niko, how are you? How are you feeling?
Hey Taylor, nice to see you again. Happy to be here with you. I'm feeling great. 2 weeks, a little bit less than 2 weeks until my fight, and yeah, I'm really happy, excited, and looking forward.
I love how you just say it just so casually, so relaxed. Yeah, 2 weeks until my fight. It is the vacant featherweight title fight against Losene Keita. I mean, I was obviously there in Frankfurt earlier this year when you made your comeback, and we talked back and forth in the press conference about you becoming one of the next German stars. You know, that's something that Octagon like to build. They like to build their homegrown stars. Did you expect this opportunity coming off that performance, or how was it for you?
Well, to be honest, it was always there in my head that someday will happen. When they called me, I didn't expect it, but since Mate vacated the belt, went down to bantamweight, a lot of stuff changed in the featherweight division, and then this opportunity came across, and I was more than happy to take it, and yeah, there we are.
And obviously it's going to be out in Ostrava. It's the coming up the 9th of December, so in a couple of weekends time. Is there a part of you that wishes it was kind of on German soil? You know, we've obviously just had the massive card in Cologne. They've just announced Stuttgart and Oberhausen for next year. Or do you think, you know, all being well, maybe those could be defenses for you?
Well, in the end, when you're in there and it's the cage, it's like, it doesn't matter, to be honest, but for sure it's really nice to be in front of a German crowd, like it was in Frankfurt, for example, or I've seen how crazy it was in Cologne. But in the end, I don't choose. Ostrava is really nice, what I heard from the crowd, really loud. Also, the fans from Czech Republic, they're really amazing fans. So I'm really looking forward to be in front of them and entertain them.
Yeah, before we go back to that fight, let's rewind to Frankfurt earlier this year. You know, you were coming back after your injury, and we talked before it, in your typical kind of laid back manner. How do you reflect on the moment now, on the fight itself, the whole experience in that Frankfurt fight week?
I think when we talked after my fight, I was not like 100% happy. Let's say, let's call it like this. And now when I reflect on it, all the stuff which was going on, and with the performance I put on, I'm really happy. It went really good for sure. I slapped the first punch, but afterwards, I think if you watch the fight again, when I watched it again, I was like, okay. Then I was in my element and felt really comfortable, and I think that's what I showed. So looking back on it, it was really amazing being back on German soil in Frankfurt in front of so many people. It was also crazy, like after the fight, walking through the stadium, so many people asking for pictures, and like it felt so surreal, you know, because having my comeback fight in April after 2 years layoff, then second fight in September, and yeah, it's going so fast, and now fighting for the belt. It's been an amazing journey, comeback journey so far, and yeah,
it's been a hell of a year, and like I was really curious to see your performance kind of going into that fight in Frankfurt. And one thing that really caught my eye, other than the finish, was your actual approach to the octagon. You know, after our interview, I kind of got the vibe that you're very relaxed, very, very chilled out guy. But then as soon as the music hit, and as soon as you kind of came up the stairs and came out around where I was looking straight down on you, this different energy kind of took over you, and you just kind of turned into a bouncy, excitable, almost like a little kid, right? Going into the octagon, going into the cage. Is there a switch for you where you get into game mode and then you're going, or was it just the energy of the crowd that night that got you?
Man, it's my playground. So there's always a switch. Like when the fight, the music starts, it's like, yeah, it switches and I'm fully focused. For sure, like the crowd is some energizing factor as well, especially walking out. But once you're standing in there, it's like just this like mode, switched on mode. Um, it's something in between 100% focus and still a little bit of like, let's say, sportive aggression, maybe something like this, but still having fun. Like I think everybody is individual, but for me it's like this kind of mixture. It's difficult to describe, to be honest, but yeah.
And then obviously you went in and, like you said, you put on a performance that you weren't too happy with at the time, but on reflection, you're pretty happy with now. Did you see the finish coming? I mean, it was such a slick exchange. You eventually caught him in the triangle, and you could really see, from my perspective, a real display of your skill set, both your striking and then your grappling. And we talked obviously in the build up, and you were very, as I say, relaxed about it. Yeah, if it comes, it comes. But did you think, round one, it would go like it did?
I knew that he was going to shoot for takedowns, and when he shooted the last time, I felt pretty comfortable with him like wrestling, and then it was like in between the scrambles. So I didn't expect it to be exactly like this maybe in the first round, but like it felt like normal, and I got the opportunity, so I squeezed and it worked. And yeah, no, I like I said, after the first punch, I felt like everything was under control. So I felt comfortable standing, I felt comfortable on the ground, and yeah, I was just flowing, and wherever the fight took me, and it took us to the ground, and that's where I was able to finish the fight.
Yeah, the rest is history, so to speak. And do you think, with the performance the way it went, had, for example, it gone maybe 3 rounds, a decision, do you think that performance is what led you to this opportunity? Obviously, like you said, you mentioned everything that's happened in the division. Do you think that performance has led you to this opportunity? You kind of stood out to Andre and Pavel on the night.
Probably, I think that has been one of a big factor, because it was a first round finish. Let's say I didn't struggle too much in the fight, and I think that's like, as a matchmaker, when you see, okay, the person is doing good, we can give bigger challenges, let's say.
And let's dive straight into this fight. You're coming up against Losene Keita, coming off an injury as well that he sustained in the Samsonidse fight in July. The big open air stadium that they did. What do you make of him kind of going into this fight? He's obviously quite a big star with OKTAGON. He was looking for double champ status in that fight, and obviously will be again. What do you make of him kind of in the build up to this fight at the moment?
Man, I have all the respect for him. I know him before. He's a really good, explosive fighter, good boxing, and that's a good challenge. That's the challenge I want. That's the challenge, I think, which is one of the most interesting matchups right now in OKTAGON, or let's say even in Europe. And yeah, that's what excites me, to be honest. And I'm trying, and I will be putting on a hell of a performance that night.
And then, like you said, it's his boxing, and you call it a challenge there. How do you see kind of the styles matching up? Obviously, I think you would have the edge in the grappling, so to say. But how would you see the styles going?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's like a boxer against a grappler, because we are both well-rounded, and I feel comfortable in boxing as well. I can stand with him. I won't say he's not a grappler. He also can grapple. So I think since MMA evolved so fast, we're both like really elite, complete fighters in the different areas. For sure, there's always different, let's say, backgrounds we have where we might have an advantage, but I feel like I don't need to hide my boxing and move directly to the ground. That's not my mentality going into this fight.
Yeah, you talked about that well-roundedness, and it was obviously very evident in the fight that I saw in person in Frankfurt. Your speed is definitely up there. And one thing you've done to kind of sharpen your tools, so to speak, in this camp is to head over to Ireland. So talk about how did that experience come about? How was the experience in Ireland, and how was that overall?
Well, we spent 2 weeks in Ireland and Dublin, also with Ibrahim Hosseinpour and Rafael Xavier, with our trainers who are also fighting on the card. And yeah, it was really nice. We were preparing there in SPG, also in the boxing gym. We had some good rounds with some guys from Bellator, PFL, or some from UFC, and it was just a good experience to get other mindsets, other people, different gym, different vibe, still training together with the trainers. And I think it was a good move, good way to prepare to see something else. Also, like for confidence, if you train with other guys, it's also always really good. And yeah, I liked the input from Kavanagh. That was good. He's a good coach. And now the last 2 weeks I'm here in Berlin, and yeah, having my own routine, my own bed, sleeping well until the fight comes. And yeah,
so we're just kind of, like you said, just under two weeks out for the fight. I mean, is this obviously a huge opportunity for you and the various camps that you represent, both Germany and Georgia? Is there any, I think I know the answer to this, but is there any added pressure for you, or is there any added kind of nerves at this stage of the fight, or is it just very much business as usual?
I wouldn't say it's usual, because I really appreciate being the main event, fighting for the title, but there's no, like, for me, it doesn't make sense to make it bigger in my head than it is. It's a fight, and I'll put everything in it, and I will enjoy it, because it's a big opportunity, like you said, and it's a good chance to have a hell of a comeback year, to make to have a nice Christmas present for myself. And yeah, that's basically how I'm going into it. I'm going into the fight with a positive mindset, excitement, like good energy, looking forward for it. And for sure there's like pressure in a way, kind of a lot of media and stuff, and people asking me about my opponent and stuff. But I think, yeah, that's normal part of the fighting game, and it's important to not overthink everything. For sure, be focused, 100% concentrated, and be aware of the challenge, because every fight is a challenge, but not make it bigger in my head to like fall under the pressure. It's more just being on the wave of pressure and enjoying like this excitement. Probably it was I think you know what I mean.
Yeah, embracing the process, embracing the excitement, and staying grounded and staying humble as well, and just trying to keep yourself.
Thanks for putting that into better words.
No, I think you nailed it. It's a fascinating perspective, because you're somebody who's very, like I said, very humble and very grounded. So I'm very curious to see, like I said, how this opportunity affects you going into the fight. I mean, we're just coming towards the end now. I mean, it's going to be a super exciting fight, but in a perfect world, and I pushed you for this last time, and you kind of said, "Oh, whatever happens, happens," and you finished the guy in the first round. So in a perfect world, how would you like to see this fight go?
In a perfect world, after the fight, I'll have the belt around my waist. Whatever the fight goes, I'm ready for it.
Incredible. Well, listen, man, I'll give you the final word. Any shout outs or anything that you want to go for?
Man, I appreciate your work. I'm happy to talk to you. I appreciate all the supporters I got, and yeah, looking forward for my fight. See you there. Come and support me, and all the love.
All the love, one love. So that is Niko Samsonidse, my guy, one love there. Octagon 50, big card, the 9th of December against Losene Keita for the vacant featherweight title. As you know, everyone on behalf of Combat Sports UK wishes you the best of luck. Tune in the UK, Channel 4 online. The rest of the world is pretty much on the zone. It'll be a hell of a card, and then headlined by this absolutely incredible fight. Niko, thank you once again for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, and the best of luck.
Thank you. All the best.